Sirenidae weren't supposed to drown. Mare clutched at her throat, desperately trying to seal the wound that slashed through her gills. Blood leaked between her fingertips, creating a grisly halo of swirling water, debris, and blood. She choked as warm liquid dripped down the back of her throat. Her stomach cramped and lurched as another casualty from above crashed through the surface of the unruly sea and began to sink. A chill swept her as the faint notes of a haunting melody reached her ears. Mare cocked her head and listened intently as the cacophony of the cannon fire and explosions of war raged above. The hunt song. Ice filled her veins at the clear words. Her magenta gaze darted the soldier, struggling as he made his way back to the surface, his movements wild and unchecked. He was beckoning his own death. Guilt pricked Mare as she pressed harder against her injury and kicked with all her strength toward the surface. The predators of the deep had no interest in the Sirenidae, but with copious amounts of blood, flesh, and prey struggling in the sea, it would be so easy for one of them to mistake her for something tasty. Her legs ached as she fought her way toward the rippling surface. A deep-seated panic wrapped around her heart and squeezed when the muted, dull tones of death drew closer, and her waterlogged clothing began to drag her down once again. Mare tore at her clothing, shedding the linen shirt, exposing her bare breasts and scratching herself in the process. Her feet tangled in her pants, and she found herself sinking deeper while she wrestled with the infernal garments. Relief was a short-lived victory as she kicked free from her pants and caught a glimpse of a huge black fin. Wicked hell, the Leviathan. Time to move. Abandoning her attempt to seal her gills, Mare clawed at the water and pushed toward the surface. She had to get out of the water. Now. Her lungs burned and screamed for air. Motion flickered at the corner of her vision, and she locked gazes with the soldier, just as a shape formed with oil-slicked skin from the inky darkness. Don't show fear. With the last of her strength, Mare smiled at the man and held her hand out, betraying none of the guilt she harbored for not warning him. Just as he reached a hand toward her, the Leviathan struck. She pulled back her arm and slowly moved toward the surface as the predator tore apart his meal, so as not to attract his attention. Her gaze never moved from the red haze. Where there was one beastie, there were always others. Mare gasped as her head broke through the barrier of one world and into another. Seawater spewed from her lungs as she coughed and hacked. Lightheaded, Mare tried to make sense of the anarchy lighting up the sky. Cannons thundered, metals shrieked, and the cries of 1,000 men pierced the air. Disoriented, she craned her neck, searching for her ship. Lightning cracked across the night sky, highlighting the skeletal forms of sinking ships, floating debris, and phantom-like fins slicing through the ocean. She sucked in a breath as she spotted her ship to the right. The Dauntless. She inhaled deeply and sank beneath the waves, fighting the urge to allow the change to overtake her body. With careful, steady strokes, she worked her way toward the Dauntless, very aware of the dangers lurking above and below. Her strength lagged as the hull of the ship grew closer, and darkness hovered at the edge of her vision. Only a few more paces. Mare crashed through waves and into the open air, the frigid wind stabbing her skin like 1,000 needles. It was on the tip of her tongue to call for help, but she caught herself. If by some miracle someone heard it, she would have put a target on them and herself. The ladder is here somewhere. Don't be lazy. She moved along the side of the shuddering ship and grinned when she spotted the ladder the pirates had left for her kind.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.